Tshwane District Commissioner Major General Semo Tine, joined by district management and other law enforcement agencies, will lead Operation Shanela in Olivenhoutbosch in Pretoria. Last week, 5 patrons in a local tavern at Choba, informal settlement, were gunned down by unknown suspects. The community has called for more police visibility in that area. Newzroom Afrika's Zola Sholwana is there for us and joins us live. Zola, very good evening to you this evening. Now, we saw, like I mentioned last week, where many of those patrons at that informal settlement in Choba were shot down. Today, Pretoria reported that earlier the police had raided the same informal settlement and they found a dwelling that's suspected to be using and making as well as storing counterfeit currency. Of course, that suspect has fled and has not yet been apprehended. How rife is crime in that area?
Well, Katleho, from what we hear from community members in Oliven, and I'm also talking about those that are coming from informal settlements in this area, they are saying that, crime is actually quite hectic this side, in a sense that there's been multiple killings. Some of them go unreported, and they've also complained about police lack of visibility, especially in informal settlements. You did mention that last week we were here and reporting on a case of 5 patrons who were gunned down randomly by unknown men, and we know that as it stands there hasn't been an arrest made by the police. Perhaps we'll get an update from the district commissioner as soon as he arrives, as we understand that they are still in a closed meeting as SAPS officials before they arrive here at this roadblock. So we are at a roadblock, and of course that is where we see law enforcement officials speaking to motorists and also just checking if they are adhering to the rules of the road and ensuring that they are not driving under the influence of alcohol, because we know that drunken driving is one of the major contributors of accidents that we get to see on the road, and of course that is what we are seeing here. Just about 4 years ago, Katleho, the former Minister of Police, General Begitsele, paid this area a visit, and this was to engage with the community and find out what are their crime trends and what do they normally come across when they are actually interacting with the police at the local police station. And that is when we got to hear about people claiming that there's a lot of there's lack of police visibility and police are not doing enough, calling on police top brass to redeploy police in that particular police station. And of course we'll get to see and hear from the district commissioner what has been done since then. Earlier on, my colleague was showing you what is actually happening, and that's of course people that are driving under the influence of alcohol, and seemingly there are going to be arrests, but numbers will be confirmed, Katleho, a little bit later on once officials hit the ground. We are also hoping to see SAPS make its way to Choba informal settlement, because you'd understand that there's been an outcry, a public outcry, with some of the residents that blaming on these crimes that have been reported here, alleging that there is an issue of illegal immigrants in that particular area. So we will then hear from the commissioner how are they addressing that or tackling those kind of issues. So residents have accused the police of being the pockets of criminals. There's so many allegations that have been brought forward by residents in Oliven, in many parts in town and also in informal settlements as well. There was even a point where they were demanding that the local police station is shut down so that there is new police officials that are deployed. But of course, those will be confirmed by the district commissioner, who is expected to be here. I'm sure you're able to see from what my colleague is showing you there, and that is a police official just checking the license and also just to make sure that the motorist has the right documents that they are supposed to have as a driver. And this is what we've been seeing for the past hour in this roadblock in Oliven. Katleho, for now, back to you in studio.
Zola, before I let you go, I mean, you made mention of some of the residents attributing possibly some of the criminal activities to the influx of illegal immigrants. And the SAPS Lieutenant Colonel Mavela Masondo had previously said that since March of this year, 420 illegal immigrants had been arrested in that particular area, in the Choba informal settlement, through the Operation Shanela. Just talk to us about what we are currently seeing. I mean, like you mentioned a little earlier on, we saw that breathalyzer. We are seeing that police are searching and ensuring that any firearms that are on the scene currently, there are licenses that are accompanied by that. What do police seem to be searching for in tonight's Operation Shanela?
Well, so for now, they are focusing on, of course, motorists, but we know that they will be going into the area, going to informal settlements, as we understand that there's a lot of illegal taverns that are being operated by some of these illegal immigrants, Kat, in this area. And you would know that the Gauteng Provincial Commissioner, in one operation that we attended, he did mention that those kind of taverns are a great contributor to crimes that potentially happen, especially in the late hours or early hours of the morning, because they do not adhere to the rules and they're not licensed. So they operate basically the entire night, or some of them end up shutting down at around 5 a.m. and that, of course, is not legal. So we are expecting them to raid those kind of taverns and, of course, check if they are they do have licensing to sell liquor, and just to also check that the people that are there, do they meet the requirements? Does the tavern meet the requirements? Because from what we saw just a week ago, seemingly there were a lot of those taverns that were operating, and we are told that through Operation Shanela, police have recently raided those illegal taverns, but somehow they will then just wait for the dust to settle. Just 2 weeks after the raid, they will continue with the business of the day, and that is, of course, continuing to sell, knowing very well that they are not supposed to do that. So we will wait to see how the operation will unfold. Of course, we'll be given a direction by the district commissioner as soon as he arrives here at this roadblock.
You mentioned the lack of visibility that has been expressed by some of the residents with regards to police being on the ground amid these heightened levels of crime. Just from your assessment, Zola, are you finding that there's some kind of an appreciation of these motorists who are on the road and are being stopped during this Operation Shanela?
Well, Katleho, what I can tell you is that many people that, or rather some people that live here in Oliven, do not want to see police by the roadblocks. They want to see police, inside the informal settlements, townships, and also other areas of Oliven, because they are claiming that that is where serious crimes, get to happen, and many of them go unreported. Yes, of course, this part of the operation is important as well, because an arrest could potentially prevent a loss of life, because we understand that some people who drive under the influence of alcohol might contribute to accidents that we see on the road. So this is also important. But for these residents, what they want to see is to get to see police patrol in their areas, because they say the only time they get to see police in their areas is when there is a big incident or, a shooting, where they take statements and interview residents who also have shown to not have a really good relationship with the police in terms of trust. We've also picked up that they are afraid to share information with police, information that could potentially lead to arrests, and that is a very crucial information, Katleho, but many of them are afraid to come forward. And when we engaged with them last week, they did mention that they do not trust the SAPS. They feel like police are in the pockets of these criminals, and they could potentially find themselves in danger shortly after reporting those kind of incidents to police. But officials are here on the ground, and they are continuing with these breathalyzers and, letting motorists, breathe so that we can be able to see if they are not driving under the influence of alcohol. So far, we have been seeing a few people being taken in, but we can't confirm the numbers as it's still a bit early. But as soon as more officials hit the ground, we will then compile a number of arrests, as we understand that through these operations, they also get to check documentation. I know that Home Affairs is not here at this point, but the SAPS, together with the TMPD, are able to check those kind of documentations so that if there is an illegal immigrant that is spotted here, they're also able to, be arrested. So we'll come back with more updates as soon as, the Commissioner arrives, Kat.